Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. Today's webinar, we're going to be talking about marketing coming out of the crisis. If I could just start by a quick thought, and that is that marketing the businesses are doing, that needs to shift because as much as the situation is that we find ourselves in, the world has shifted, the market has shifted, people's mindset has shifted, people's way of doing business has shifted, and therefore our marketing methodologies must therefore shift. There's much more fear, there's more concern in the marketplace. There's also more scarcity and more desire. You know, uh, Sometimes there's more desire to buy quickly in some areas and it's slower in other areas. So it's about understanding where you are at and what your marketplace looks like. So if you're a person struggling with thinking about how does the marketing shift, let me give you an example. So I was looking at an ad a few days ago, and this was an ad by a local jeweler, and they haven't changed their advertising since the crisis started. So it's still an ad for buying Rolex. You know, if you buy a Rolex, you look great. Looks amazing on you. You look fantastic if you own a Rolex. It's the best watch in the world. Now, if you think about it, what's actually going to happen from that ad is people are going to get turned off that business. If you just flip it over and imagine they change their advertising and said something on the lines, look, we know times are changing and we know times are tough, but there's still moments where you need to celebrate. There's still moments where their anniversaries, their birthdays, where you want to give people some gift or of amazingness or gift that celebrates. So we're happy to help you in these times. I know we are closed, but we are virtual, and we can definitely help you with, you know, you know, giving those gifts or giving that experience. So if you look at marketing on with that angle, see the difference between the two marketing exercises. The initial bit was the old methodology or old ideology. They will still continue with it. If you just turn it around and if you flip it around, look how effective this marketing becomes. Now, it's really important to understand how the perception and the realities of the world has changed over these last few weeks. Now, another thing which I want you to understand is obviously when this crisis started, we I mean there was a lot of chaos, there was a lot of uncertainty, there was a lot of fear. However, over the last few weeks, as the government stepped in, there were a few grants which came out. People are in a much better mindset right now, and what I have seen, a lot of people have been able to access the grants, the loans, and the cash flow is not as bad as it looked a few weeks ago. Now, now we're coming towards looking at the other end of the crisis. Businesses have started opening up. People are going back, to offices. So the world is trying to get back to how it was before, even though it's going to take a long time before it gets back to normal. But understand one thing: for most businesses or for most people, let's take example of businesses. If you're dealing with business to business, most people, the cash flow is much better now. Businesses have reduced their costs to a level where they cannot go beyond that, so they are almost operating on a bare minimum cost structure anyway. The only way to grow now is to increase their sales and marketing or purchasing or doing business as usual, getting back there. So it's about understanding that this is the time you need to start doing the marketing, you need to start ramping up your marketing. Because if you're not able to ramp up your marketing now, it will be difficult for you to stay on track because your competition will take over. And what will happen, that most of the people who leave it too late will miss the trend. So I was just talking to one of my friends about going back to the restaurant and just going back on the fear aspect of it. So we were talking about how people are going to be sort of reacting going back to the restaurant. What fears do they have? So what came out of the conversation was people going back to the restaurants. They would be looking at what is it that I'm going to be touching. Do I want to touch the menu, or do I need a contactless menu, or do I need a menu on my phone? So it's about looking at how things are changing and what is it that you can do differently. So it's about understanding where is it this world is headed and how your marketplace is going to be reacting. Now, just as you are here, this is my home office, so I am working from home. And just to give you a bit of an idea, most of my clients have pivoted, still running, still paying the bills, still making enough money just to keep the head above water. Now, a couple of my clients who operate in hospitality sector, we had to furlough everyone because we couldn't really help that. We just had to do that. However, another client who's in commercial cleaning business, they've pivoted and they're actually doing much better than what they were earlier. So they're recruiting more people. And so my hope here today is with this webinar is to give you some guidance or give you some help and some information which you can go back and apply to your business and benefit from it. So let's take it from there. So let's get to the marketing stuff. So what we're going to be doing today is obviously learning few of the things. I'm going to take you through few steps which will help you get the focus back in the business. So number one of the things that we're going to talk about is the thinking. How do you look at marketing? And I just want you to give it a bit of thought around what is happening. So if we just run a poll here, let's just run a poll here. So what do you think? How are people reacting to businesses who are marketing right now? So why don't we just do a poll here? Let's see how many people are receptive to the idea of businesses marketing right now. So come on, guys, let's just put your vote there. What do you think? How are businesses responding to that? Are they open to it? Are people negative to the businesses marketing right now? Okay, yeah. So yeah, actually 100% of the people have said, no, actually 1%, 20%, 80% of the people have said that yes, the businesses are receptive. One person and 20% of the people here are saying that the businesses are not really receptive, which is interesting. Okay, so let's have a look. Here I have depends on your customer's mindset. That's true, absolutely. So it depends on your customer's mindset, but it also depends on how you are positioning yourself in the marketplace. So what we're looking at, let's look at some of the things which are really relevant right now. So things we should have been doing anyway in the past. So let's talk about Google, for example. Google has been around since 1998. LinkedIn has been around since I think 2003. Facebook has been around, I think, around that time. Instagram around 2000, end of 2000, sometime around 2010. And what we're looking at is where your target audience is, where your target market is. Now, Google is one of the biggest search engines, and look at how Facebook has taken over Instagram just to access the younger audience, because the Facebook age group was getting older, about 30s, 30s, or 40s, and so that is why they took over Instagram. So it's about understanding what are we doing on these social platforms. When we're looking at YouTube, for example, YouTube advertising is something. Now, most companies don't even think about YouTube advertising, let alone they think about putting content on YouTube. So when I started looking at Google advertising, less than 5% of the businesses actually have even tried Google advertising. When it comes to search engine optimizations, the things that we've been forced to do now because of the things changed, but actually they should have been done in past as well. But because of the situation, people are being forced to use more of these tools now. There are more people on social media. There are more people using SEOs and Google. So we're going to discuss all of this today. So what I would like you to think about is, the focus of the marketing. why do we do marketing? It is more about return on investment. The focus has to be return on investment, and so that we can invest more in the marketing. So every single time we go get out there and we start looking at what we're going to make sure that what marketing trends are there, and also we're just going to look at what return are we getting on marketing. So marketing strategy is all about a very simple thought, and that is buying lifetime customers. Our job with marketing is to invest a certain amount of money to buy a customer that then will be with us for a lifelong of purchasing. So we're looking at the marketing, the sales, the customer service. It's all part of the strategy. Now, in previous times where we were able to go out and actually knock on doors, go out networking events, meet with people, these things actually work. Now, in place, obviously things have changed now. So what we need to do is look at the methodologies that we have been using in past, and what methodologies or strategies are still relevant, right? And how can we get our marketing to stick and get some results for us? So in that sense, the marketing strategies which we were using in past may or may not be relevant. Most likely they won't be. They've just disappeared. And your marketing plan or your marketing approach needs to change. So when we think about strategy and marketing, about buying lifetime customers, what we're aiming to do is work out what it is that we are selling best and what can we sell first, because ultimately it comes down to what product or service are we marketing with. We're looking at the product or service and not all the product or services that you sell. What will be a great door opener for your marketing? It doesn't. It can't be all the products or services. So you need to prioritize what are the easy sell. Okay, what will open the door for you? So, for example, giving a free sample is the methodology. Can it work in your business? What methodologies are you, or what strategies are you using strategically? So if you look at what I'm doing here today, I'm using at least a two-step strategy: a webinar for free that then gets people to connect with us, that may be then using on a second step another giveaway that builds relationship, and then another connection that makes a purchase, and then another connection, and so on. And so often we've got to look at our strategy in multiple steps. So now in perfect world where there's no fear, there's no crisis, you can definitely go straight to the sale very easily on most of the occasions. No one will be upset that you're saying, hey, buy my Rolex. But in marketplace now, it is different. There's fear, there's scarcity, there's lack of wanting to do business immediately. People are a bit scared. So what you've got to do in most of these cases, or many of these cases, is move your strategy to a multiple step, to build a relationship, to actually opening the door first and gradually moving that person through. Now, let's just flip this over. Now, some of us in the room here are going to be in business. How can I put this? Your business is in boom right now. Your business is doing phenomenally well. The demand for your products or services, are high, and of course, your marketing in that case has to be that of a feel-good marketing. We are here for you. We're listening to you. We're doing the best we can. Thanks to our team members for putting in the extra hours. Thanks to our lovely loyal customers. Thank you. You can be doing all of these things, but if it's in boom, you don't have to be insensitive, but at least you need to be talking about things that is happening. Now, some of the marketing strategies, on the other hand, where the businesses are not doing so well. So it is, but the focus is not just about making the sale. It's about thinking strategically. All right. So when I coach my clients and I work with our clients, I have more than 80 strategies for lead generation. And I work with them, and we've got more than 80 strategies for conversion, you know, convert the leads into paying clients. And if you haven't seen the 5 ways formula, how it works and how it, helps you multiply the bottom line profit, I suggest you book a session after this, and I'll take you through this. But today is not about that. Today is more about what we need to do with our marketing right here, right now. So if we are thinking about all of this sort of stuff when we are, when sitting down and looking at it, the question is, are there still people buying your products or service right now? Now, some of us have to answer that question with no. Our marketing needs to be getting us ready for when we do reopen our marketing. So, when our establishments, for example, restaurants, one of the clients that we were working with, and that's the strategy that we have adopted. So we are still keeping in touch with our customers, our email database, our online social media, photo of staff, video chef cooking at home, saying we can't wait to be back, we can't wait to be with you. Uh, you know, when we get back, we're looking forward to serving you again. We're looking forward to this and that. What's your favorite dish on the menu? Sharing recipes and stuff like that. So that is what we are doing with that client. We are interacting as much as possible with the customer base. Okay. So it is about looking at where you are, what your customers are, how they are behaving, whether they're buying or not. So it's important to understand how you're going to be marketing. We don't need to look at the customer experience. We need to look at the perceived value. What value does your business deliver? So it's also about understanding that your marketing messages, for example, like I gave you an example of Rolex earlier. Marketing message. So your marketing messages need to be getting you thank you notes. Actually, if your marketing messages are not getting you thank you notes, thank you style notes, then you are getting it wrong. Now we need to be making sure that the level of empathy, sympathy, compassion is extraordinarily high in our message right now. And every single business can do that. Every single business, you're stuck at home with the kids and you would really love to help. We understand that your bed and your life has changed. These are some of the messages that people are thinking about. Now if you want to test your messages at this point in time, post them on your social media and see if it gets a lot of engagement. See if it gets a lot of people interacting, saying, thank you, this is feeling great. If you're getting any challenge with that, then you need to test those messages by putting them out there on your Twitter or your Instagram or your Facebook or LinkedIn. Feel it. If you get the messages that is felt, so that it feels right, that people are seeing it as being right target for right now, you will get a lot of interaction. You'll get a lot of feedback from it. So you'll get a lot of engagement on it. So to give you another example of shifting your message, sometimes your message has to shift because you're doing a whole new thing. If your message has to shift because you're doing a whole new thing, remember, you got to educate people as to what it is you're doing. But also, if your message is shifting because there's a whole new thing, you're getting a whole new target audience, you're getting a whole new group of people. To give you an example, one of our clients, was an exhibition stands business, events. The exhibition. Now the event industry has taken a big hit. So they usually, help businesses set up their stalls and stands, and the exhibitions and the trade shows and things like that. So what they have done now, they have changed their focus to actually helping businesses prepare to open. So how to ensure social distancing or the distancing at work. So they're building cubicles which help people, or building glass screens which help people stay away from each other or maintain that distance or protects people. So they are able to do that. And what they have done in that case is they are able to take it forward and take it in a way where the whole business had to shift. So the whole business is changing now. So in that case, they have to educate their customer base. So it's about understanding and what target market you're going after, then educating people. So it is about extending help. It's about asking people what are they looking for, instead of selling. So help and give versus sell and ask. Add value. It's about creating the content. It's about delivering the value. It's about you know getting your name out there in the marketplace. So that is one thing which we really need to focus on, is look at your message. Look at your message and see whether my message connects. Is it the right message in these times? If there is anything needs changing, then what is it that going to change? How am I going to be able to connect with people? Because uh, not everybody may be wanting to buy, or not everybody will be ready to buy. However, if you're able to connect, build relationships at that time, people will come back and buy things from you. Next thing we look at is your website. Now, you may have had a website which was fabulous by January, February. However, things have changed. Now, if things have changed, has your website adapted to it? one thing. Obviously, the messaging needs to be there. Look at content. Are you posting stuff regularly on your website? Is it coming up high on SEO? Because if you post regular content or if you make changes which are in tune with time, your website will come up high in searches. Ensure your information is correct. Opening times, contact information, all this information is correct, because it can be really irritating when people click on the website and they don't get to the right time, or if they call the person, nobody picks it up. So look at how people are, when somebody fills a contact us form, where does it go to? Who responds to it? If there's a phone number there, who's responsible for replying to that call? Look at blogs or vlogs. Are you posting some content? Because remember, even though you are in business, look at it from your customer's point of view. You are supposed to be an expert in your area. And if you're an expert in your area, you need to demonstrate that. And what is the best way to demonstrate that? Is writing blogs or vlogs or sharing what you know, which will help your customers, because that sort of helps you differentiate from your competition. It is about understanding how your social media channels are performing and how they link to your website and how they work together. So are they driving traffic to the website, or the other way around? you know Try not to look at, try to create some authentic content. Don't just copy and paste. Don't plagiarize. But at the same time, make sure your content is authentic. It comes from your heart. It comes from you directly. Okay. And also look at if it is relevant or not. Tags, use descriptions, use meta tags. These are the things. Use some pictures, use some videos if you can use some videos. But look at how your website is performing, because most of the people that I speak with say, you have a website. Yes. When was the last time you actually reviewed whether your website is still relevant? And imagine what response I get. Less than actually 20% of the people make that effort to check whether their website is still relevant. Because once they created the website, that's the end of it. So look at your website. What is it that you need to be doing on your website? Second thing is step up, create more content. Focus on creating more content. This is the time. Do some podcasts. Do whatever you have to do. But focus on afters. Focus on afters. Don't be talking about selling your products or services. Talk about what do they get after, or what experience they have after they have used your product or service. So nobody wants to buy coaching. Yes. If I say buy coaching, nobody would want to buy coaching. You want a business coach. Nobody will say, yes, I need a business coach in their right mind, to be honest. But everybody wants results. And the results mean obviously having more money in their pocket, or getting better results from the team, getting less stress, or having a better work-life balance. So those are the afters which are important for people. Not a coaching, not a business coach. Nobody thinks about when they get up in the morning that I need a business coach. They're looking for a solution to their problem, their challenges. So focus on what problem you're solving. What are the afters? What excites your customers? After just doesn't have to be something to do well in the business. It is something which should excite the customer. So look at your messaging. Create blogs or vlogs daily. It's so simple now to create videos now. Just with your iPhone or your Samsung phone or any Android phone, you can create a video. You can create a video less than a minute and you can post it regularly. Even if you go out for a walk, for example, and if you want to talk to yourself on the camera, that's a vlog. You can be talking about anything that is relevant to your customer base or your client base or your target market or your target audience. You look at social media posts. Are they actually connecting, or you're just selling? I am ready to sell. I am open for business. If this is the only message that you're sending out, you will be putting people off. These days, live videos or interviews are doing really, really well. So in terms of, I was just looking at the stats, interview styles, videos or podcasts are doing really well. Interview your clients. Interview some of your clients, if nothing else. Interview some of your colleagues, if nothing else. Just 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 general interview. If you can just create interviews like that, why not? Look at case studies. This is a good time to start looking at some case studies. So look at all the clients you've had for last 1 year and see, can you create some case studies out of it? Host a webinar like this one. There's nothing stopping you from starting a webinar or hosting a webinar. you know share checklists, tip sheets, job aids, tools, all these things, they build engagement. Now, people will may or may not buy straight away, but they will be engaging with you. And when they engage with you, obviously they buy sometime down the line. Look at the content. Okay, make sure your content is exciting. And these are some of the examples because it needs to be entertaining. It needs to put a smile on people's face. It needs to inspire people. It needs to educate people, right? It needs to open a dialogue. It needs to take them to open up and have conversation with you or take the next step in the cycle. So don't just create content. Think about what is the objective of this content. What am I looking to get out at this, at the end of this content? So what is the purpose of this content? And how am I connecting with these people? How am I positioning it? So it's about understanding, not just creating content, but content which matters, content which connects with the people. Now, I was talking about blogs and vlogs. Now, I've seen a lot of people starting to do videos now, which is good. And if you look at your own phone, if you use any social media, like for example, LinkedIn, Facebook, you see the number of posts which are there. How many of them are just text? How many of them are actually with pictures? And how many of them are videos? And you will see the change. You will notice the change. Some of the stats are here, but you will see how people spend more time watching a video rather than reading. So people, you can actually stop people in their tracks if it's a good video. Most of the time, people don't want to stop for a text post anymore. So have a compelling. So have you've heard about IDA. IDA is attention, interest, detail, desire, or call to action. So look at how are you capturing their attention. So first few seconds is really important. Whatever you write, if it's a big vlog, first few seconds of reading will be really important. Headings, subheadings would be really important. If you're sending out emails, for example, your subject line should be interesting. Does it have that key phrases which will catch their attention? It needs to be conversational and obviously engaging. This shouldn't be formal. It should be more like a conversational. And when you're looking at getting something out, I mean, you're not just putting blog or vlog there out there. So what is the next step you want them to take? So what is the call to action? Be very clear on it. And that call to action shouldn't be buy from me. It is just what is the next step in the sales process, right? So have relevant call to action. Have set up, for example, a call to action could be download this or give us a code or set up a meeting, but not buy from me. That doesn't work very well because you still need to be building a relationship. So look at these things. What is it that you're using right now, and what is it that you can improve on? And moving on to videos, like I was saying, a live interview or a recorded interview gets more traction these days than any other post. Okay, so think about who are your clients who you can interview, and maybe you can create a video case study out of it if you have some clients who you can use, or look at talking to some of your colleagues. Look at how you can present the human side of the business to the marketplace. Do some podcasts, right? Do some tip stocks. So for example, you can just pick up the phone and say, in this situation, these are my tips, and if you're facing this, these are the things you could be doing. Make sure you're engaged, make sure it's authentic, make sure it is relevant, and obviously look at the length, because the best traction is videos which are less than a minute, just about a minute. But do testing and measuring. Try different lengths. Try longer videos, try shorter videos, but create a mix and look which one works better for you and for your target market. And these days, getting a video is simple, so it should not be that much of a challenge. If you do need help, find somebody who can help you, give you some education, yeah, around it, and I mean, once you start doing that, the resistance in the head will go away. But yes, add videos to the mix, 110%. Have videos, because these days videos are the best way to connect with your target market. We're looking at your social media now. So now social media, are we've already talked about the messaging. Now we need to look at what platforms are you using and what sort of content you're posting. So for example, on Instagram, And on LinkedIn, your content could be very different because the average age on Instagram is very different. So you may still be like, for example, if I'm targeting business owners, I'm going to be targeting much younger business owners uh, on Instagram, where a bit more mature business owners on LinkedIn. So if I make the same post, that may or may not work. So I need to think about which platform I'm targeting and what sort of messaging I'm, you know, using, what sort of questions I'm asking. Run some challenges, run some lucky draws, you know, ask an engaging question. Okay, it's okay. You need to understand which are the best platforms for you. Now, not all of them will work same way, but two or three of them will get you better results than the other. But that does that mean that you post on these two or three only? No, I think you should be spreading across the spectrum. So it is about understanding and look at the analytics, obviously. Look at people who engage with your content. And if they engage with your content, what is your next step? So, for example, if you make a post on LinkedIn and somebody likes it, what is it that you're going to do with it? Are you just going to leave it there, or are you going to take the conversation further? Because remember, why you posted it on LinkedIn, it's not just to look good. It's to actually do some business with some people. So if somebody engages with your content, that's another way of saying, yeah, if you pick up the phone or call these people or drop them an email, they'll be more receptive. They'll be more receptive to your phone call or your email. So remember, what is the next step? What is the next step? What is the next step? In marketing and sales, always be clear about what is the next step. What is the next step? What is the journey that I'm taking them on? I would also suggest boosting some posts, and you do some testing about and measuring in it. Set a small budget first. See what are the posts that you want to be sending out, or what are the posts that you want to be boosting. And sometimes, if you get if you let's say if you post something on LinkedIn or Facebook, and you get a bit of engagement on it, I would suggest boosting it further. When you boost it further, it will get you 10 times the result than normal boosted post because it already has engagement on it. And suddenly, live, for example, have you tried doing Facebook Live, or have you tried some things like that? Because the best way to engage with people is sometimes doing Facebook Live. It depends on your target audience, but make sure you try these things. Make sure you remember the basic things. Keep it eye catching. Make sure you have the buttons. Make sure the buttons are working, obviously. The imagery matches the times, obviously, and imagery matches your audience, imagery matches your messaging. So, understand why you're doing all of this. So it's about understanding what is it that you want to get out. And Facebook, for example, Facebook gives you great analytics. Have a look at analytics. If you've done Facebook advertising before, I'm sure you know the detailed analytics you get on Facebook. So use the analytics, because if you're looking at the analytics, it'll help you improve your effectiveness on Facebook or any social media. We're looking also, these are the times to start building a database as well, because people may or may not be ready to buy now, but if people engage with you, you can build your database. So for example, you're giving some things for free. Okay, if you are actually creating good content on a regular basis, you can get more people to subscribe your mailing list or your blogs or your newsletters and things like that. Think about where are the opt-in pages. Think about GDPR compliance. Think about, if you're giving something free to somebody, how can you get their contact details before you give it to them, right? Look at it. How are you sharing that content? How are you positioning that content, right? Look at, you know, uh, the data that you're collecting. For example, this is interesting. I speak to businesses and I ask them, do you have a database? They say, yes, I have a database. How many? I've got 10,000 people in it. Okay. And when was the last time you connected with them? Oh, I send them an email every month. And what is the engagement in there? Oh, I don't measure it. Do you see what it means? Can you can you see this database is worthless, to be honest? If your database is not engaging with you, there's no point having a database. So you need to be working on whether this is actually the database. whether, actually it's only 200 of these which are relevant to me, not 10,000. And if these 200 I can focus on and get better results from, it was better to do that rather than feel good or false sense of, that I have 10,000 people on my database, but I can't sell anything to them because they don't buy anything. So look at your own internal practices as well. What is your, how you deal with data, how you deal with privacy, how you deal with, in terms of people unsubscribing, how are you doing that? And what is it that you're doing? For example, if you're using something like MailChimp, or if you're using another CRM software, it allows you to see people who have opened your email. It allows you to see which person has clicked on a link. So this is what you need to be measuring when you're doing anything with your database, is to who's engaging with me. And if they're not engaging, is it the content or is it the people? Do I have a wrong database, or am I not sending the right content? So you need to question that, and you need to make sure that both are aligned with each other. And once you have done that, then what is the next step? So if somebody opens my email, what am I going to do after that? Am I just going to leave it like that, hoping that they will call me, or am I going to take a step? Or have I given them any call to action, clear call to action for them to take, which will help them get closer to the buying stage? So you need to be looking at that. All right. Email marketing. So that is what we were talking about, email marketing. Get to know your audience. You know, testing and measuring is really, really important, like I said. Look at the matrix. Look at who's opening your emails. Look at who's clicking on your links. Look at which link they click. So for example, in your email there could be three links with three different areas, and if somebody is clicking on this link, that means what is their pain, or what could be their challenge, what my conversation could be with them, because you can structure it differently, right? So you can actually get some meaningful information from there. Also look at what can you do in terms of developing some loyalty programs. Look at, can I segment my database? Can I segment my database based on the product categories? Can I segment my database based on geographical location? Can I segment my database depending on how long have they been working with me? Or can I segment my database depending on what sector they are in? So because if you do that, your email marketing could be more effective. So, for example, you're sending one email out to real estate agents, another email you're sending out to, for example, restaurants. And you could have a different newsletter or different sort of email going out, which will be more specific to these target segments, which will get you better engagement rather than just sending out general email. Sometimes people just do email marketing just to just tick a box. Do you do email marketing? Yes, I do email marketing. And what is the objective of email marketing? I don't know, because I have never worked around. So it's not that. Everything needs to have a purpose. Everything needs to be driven. What is the next step? So look at email marketing. Look at segmenting your database, and make it clear. Make it clear what is right from them, or what problem you solve for them. Another thing which I would suggest is create landing pages. Now, some of you may be using landing pages, some of you may not be using landing pages. And the idea of creating a landing page is to keep a focused approach, very, very focused. You don't want to give them more information than what the subject matter is. Now, if you send them to your website, they will get confused because your website is detailed usually. It'll have more than one or two pages, and people then get confused and they get sort of overwhelmed, and then they postpone it. The idea of creating a landing page is, if a conversation is, for example, this particular webinar, you would go to the landing page, you will register for the on the webinar. Now I could send you to the website where you will have to find that information, where is the webinar, and then you will have to register. By that time, something else will distract you. You will forget that you came there for a webinar, and something else will distract you, and then something else will distract you, and something else, and then by the end of a couple of minutes, you would have forgotten why you went to the website, and you will just go away. So it's about understanding the purpose of landing pages. Make sure you add whatever tool you're using to drive traffic to the landing pages or your email. Anything is talking the same language. Keep keep the call to action very, very clear, and make sure you have, it should be accessible on a mobile, because these days most of the websites, or most of the landing pages, or most of the emails are open web. they're open on mobile. So is your template, for example, newsletter also, if you're sending a newsletter, how does it look on mobile? It'll be a good idea to see. Send it to yourself, open it on mobile and see how it looks. Because sometimes what looks good on desktop may not look good on a tablet and may not look good at all on a mobile. So you need to see how it looks, on each of these devices. Look at the links, make sure the links are working. Because a lot of times I've seen people create pages, but their links are not working. They have a social media icon, but if you click on it, nothing happens. And what does that tell them about your business? What sort of impression they get? So it's about looking at these details and creating landing pages. You can control that information. You don't have to give them all the information. You need to give them information what they need right now, not all the information. Okay. Another thing is Google AdWords. Now I'm going to spend a bit of time on this Google AdWords. How, I'm not sure how many of you use actually Google AdWords, but if you do, and if you have got it to work in past, it'll tell you how effective they are in terms of generating business. Now, sometimes Google AdWords can be very expensive, but in most times, if you get it right, if you choose the right keywords, it works really well for your business, right? So if you want to learn some things about Google AdWords, see if you can put yourself in for a training. Google runs lots of trainings for free anyway. So if you want to go to Google and search for Google AdWords training, I'm sure you'll find something. Make sure the few things that are important, obviously, is the things which are set up correctly, the location, targeting. When you're doing marketing, there are three key aspects: target, offer, copy. The most important of these three is the target. Who's the target market? And that's 70% important. What is my target market? Second is the offer, which is 20% important. What offer am I giving them? What is my message? You know, and then third is the copy, how I write that. What is the language I'm using? So targeting is really, really important. And that works for any marketing. So if you run a Facebook ad, Google AdWords, targeting is the key. If you get the targeting right, you will get better results. If you mess with the target, if you mess up the targeting, obviously your whole exercise will go to waste. So look at how you're building your campaign. How are you connecting with people, or how you're looking at the analytics. We talked about the website. So do you have analytics for your website? What is your bounce rate on the website? What is the page view by person? Are you tracking people, which geographical location they're logging in from? So if there are, if you have Google Analytics, you can look at that information and you can then improve your website to deliver better, right? In terms of Google AdWords, I would suggest do some research. What are the keywords? What are the keywords people would use to find someone like you, right? So it needs to be like, what is it that people will type in Google to find someone like you? So what are the keywords that they would be focusing on? And then important thing is about, understanding cost per click, you know, looking at clicks, looking at impressions, and understanding what your strategy is. How are you tracking? How are you tracking your conversion, right? It's about understanding how are you doing the testing, A and B testing, using two ads and analyzing the results. It's about understanding what is it that Google AdWords are delivering. And when the AdWord goes out, where am I taking them? Am I taking them to my website? Which will then again defeat the purpose. Because, for example, you may run a business and you may have three products or three services. There'll be different keyword for each of them. So when you run an ad, you don't run one ad, you run three different ads, or run one ad specific to one particular product or service. And then you don't want to be taking them to the website, you want to be taking them to a landing page. A landing page where you only talk about that product or service. There will be some testimonials about it, or some stories about customers, why they should buy from you, and what is the next step. And actually, also, why would they benefit? How would they benefit from buying from you? And then what is the call to action? That's it. Simple landing page. It's important to understand Google AdWords don't work for a lot of people because they invest money in Google AdWords, But then after the ad, they send them to their website. And sometimes they send them to places where they don't want to be, sending them to be honest, on the website itself. So if you're sending them to a website, suddenly you created an interest, and suddenly then you bring them to your website and you confuse them or overwhelm them, and then they disappear. So it's about understanding what is it that you're looking to get out of your marketing, and how is marketing working for you in this case. So it's about understanding Google AdWords and other things. Whatever marketing you're doing, how is it going to work for you, and how is it going to work for your business? And I'm going to come back to this point that I started with again. Remember, this is the time to increase your marketing. A lot of people, most of the business owners now, are in a better state of mind than they were 3 or 4 weeks ago. Their financial situation, in most cases, is better, if not worse. Excuse me. So it's about making sure that you are there, you are seen, you are in front of them. And all that is going to be possible when you're marketing. There are people who are looking to invest in their growth from here on, because they cannot cut the costs anymore. They've cut their costs already. They cannot cut their costs anymore. So the only way is to get out of this whole situation is to grow, or to do more sales, more business, grow. And people are looking to invest. So the people are looking more open to buying. But then you need to be in front of them. You need to be in there. A lot of people may have actually, you know, suffered because of this crisis, and they may not be in a position to market right now. And some of them could be your competitors. So you're in a good position if you're able to, survive this, and if you've, held yourself together, you're in a better position to market right now, because there are lots of customers who are looking for, businesses to buy from, because people they may have been buying earlier from are no longer there, are still not in the marketplace. So it is about understanding that, and it's more marketing now than you needed to do maybe in January or February. So it's about understanding what marketing you need to do, how much marketing you need to do. So focus needs to be marketing. I would say your marketing needs to be about 10 times what it was in January, at least for next 3 months. Because once this whole thing settles down, people will go back into their comfort zone. So there will be no urgency. Right now, there is urgency in the market. People are looking to buy, people are looking to invest, because that's the only way to get out of this crisis. So this is the perfect time. This is the best time to be in business. This is the best time to be marketing right now. Now, there will be some people who would say, no, I'm not ready to buy, but that's okay. They are minority. Majority of the people would be interested and looking to buy. Now, but however, you need to be keeping, mind the empathy, the compassion. I want to just be finishing off, by saying the empathy and the compassion is really important. But look at your budget, marketing budget. You need to be allocating it to the right channel. So you look at, where am I spending money? I really hope that your business is doing well. I really hope that you found a way to sort of thrive. But you got to, take this momentum up from here onwards. So when you get there, you don't want to be caught flat-footed on this, because you want to be come out flying, come out strong. So get on, get moving, get your momentum happening. But make sure you follow some of the basic principles that we just talked about. Right? So it is really, really important to keep that in mind, but keep the marketing up. Now, I've got these are a few things to finish off. Do more marketing. If you have a coach, sit down and have a plan with your coach. If you don't have a coach, sit down with one of your business partners. If you have a partner. If you don't have a business partner, sit down with a friend, but sit down with somebody and create your plan. Right? Shift your marketing if as per the needs of the market right now. Shift where you're marketing, shift how you're marketing, shift your message. Like I said, reallocate your budgets. Look at how your budget is being spent. Also measure your return on investment. If you're putting £10 or £15 or £100 somewhere, what return are you getting? test and measure, and then change, adapt. If you need to adapt, you adapt. But then if you don't have anything to test or any numbers to track, then you will not know what to change or what not to change. So it's about having those numbers, making sure you have those numbers so you can make some meaningful decisions. So before we finish off, I would suggest you write down 5 things that you need to do right now. I don't want you to share it, just write it down, because it's all about, like this company, the business that we have is called Action Coach, and there's a reason behind it, because we need to take some action. If you want to change something, you need to take action. So what are the 5 things that you need to do right now? 5 things that you would make, change in your business. So it is about understanding what is that you're going to be doing. Right. I've got, if you have any questions, please type in the question answer box. I will be happy to answer them. In the meanwhile, what I will do is I'm going to be opening up Mike. Mike is here from Hillingdon Chamber of Commerce. And obviously, this webinar is brought to you through Hillingdon Chamber of Commerce. And I think most of you are members of Hillingdon Chamber of Commerce. I'll just open him up. But just before I open him up, just a couple of things I want to share. One is I am, gifting some coaching sessions. I'm gifting coaching sessions to people who really need help. So if you are one of the person who need help or who would benefit sitting down, I'm happy to sit down, spend half an hour, 1 hour, whatever is required to help you get through and get to the next level. So there are details here. You have my contact details there if you need any help. Apart from that, I also run some free sessions, business growth sessions. Okay, and these are for local businesses. We meet up every Thursday. I spend about 1 hour with them and take them through different things. So we've already covered about time management. We've covered about cash flow. We've also covered about creating a business plan. What we're going to be talking about is sales and marketing in coming few weeks. If you're interested in joining us, please make sure you register for that. It's a long link. If you need the details, what I'll do, I'll email it to you. And if anyone of you wants to join, then you're more than welcome. So my details are here. I'll leave it here for now. And I'm opening Mike Langen now. Mike. Hello, Mike. Can you hear us? Mike, can you hear us? Okay, I think some technical challenge, I guess. Right. Mike, can you speak? Okay, maybe there's some technical challenge at Mike's end, so he's not able to say, but it would have been great if he could have said anything. If you have any questions, please type them in the question box so I can answer them. Unmute his mic. I've already unmuted his mic. Okay, he's unmute, but anyway. Okay, so question. What is it? I've got the recording, but don't know if it should be on LinkedIn, YouTube, or my website. Well, yeah, that's a good question. Now, I don't. It depends on the size of the recording. I don't think you can put a very long video on LinkedIn. So I would suggest putting it on a website or YouTube and then sharing the link on LinkedIn, or maybe create a snippet out of it, which is first few seconds or first few things that you share to get the excitement going, and then bring them to your website. Now, LinkedIn doesn't like content when you take them away from LinkedIn, but it does not allow you to. But maybe a good idea to look at would be when you create articles on LinkedIn. Is there a possibility of posting a video as an article? It's something like a blog. So maybe that is something you would want to explore. Second is, how many views should I have before I boost? Yeah, there's no right or wrong answer on that. It depends on what you've been getting in the past. If you think you're getting more engagement, so if you have to boost, let's look at your best performing ads. Let's say pick up 3 best performing posts from the past and start with that benchmark, because obviously every industry is different, every sector is different. So there is no right or wrong answer. But what I'm saying is, if there is an engagement on an organic post, there is a good idea in investing more in there, because you will get many times the results on that one. So if you do want to invest in boost, choose the ones which have got engagement, because that will get you better results. Okay, Google AdWords, 70%. Yeah, so that was target offer copy. So 70% important is target. So targeting is 70% important. Offer is, what is the offer you're going to give them. So what are you using to entice them to come to your landing page or take the next step. And what is the copy, that is the least important. So how you write it, what words you use, that's less important compared to target and offer. I'm not saying that is not important, that is definitely important, but targeting is definitely more important. And offer, whatever offer you're giving. Any other questions, people? Just put there in the question answer box, and I'm happy to answer. Okay. Another person says, how do I measure my return on marketing? That's a good one. Yeah. Okay. So when you look at marketing, any marketing that you do, look at how much money have you invested in it. So, for example, if you invest £1,000 in a marketing strategy, then the next thing to measure is how many leads have you generated through that marketing strategy. Okay, so that will give you cost per lead. So if, let's say, if it's £1,000 you've invested and you got about let's say 10 leads out of it, that means it's £100 per lead that it's costing you. The idea is to reduce that cost as much as possible, right? So the next thing that you would want to look at is how many of those leads do you actually convert into customers. So let's say out of 10 leads you convert uh, 2 in customers, right? That means the cost of buying your customer, or cost of, the return on investment is you're basically paying £500 for each customer. So then you need to look at, if I get a customer for £500, what am I selling to them? And whatever I'm selling to them, is it more than £500, the profit on the first sale, ideally. And now some businesses, they make money more on the lifetime value, so how long the customer stays with them. But ideally, for a small business, the best would be to at least break even on the first sale. So you should be making more money or profit on the first sale than you've invested in terms of generating that lead. So I would say that. Okay. Another question is, for marketing, social media posts, should I outsource it? Well, that's a tricky one, see, because when you're on social media, the things which are important, one is consistency. So I would say be consistent. So if you're posting stuff on social media, make sure you're posting regularly. These days, you should be posting at least once a day. If it's LinkedIn or if it's Facebook or if it's Instagram, at least once a day, one post a day. Now, out of that, maybe one out of every 3 or 4 could be a video, and rest can be other. You can share other people's content. You can just, create your own content. You can put a testimonial. You can do lots of things. However, the important thing to remember is, one is the consistency. So your volume needs to be good enough. Then the second aspect is the quality. Now, I believe, as a business owner, you need to either do it yourself, because you can communicate with your customer better than anybody else. But if you think somebody else can do a better job, you need to work with them to post content regularly. Because if somebody is doing it for you, but if there is a disconnect, because a lot of times when I see content and I actually go and meet the business owner, there is a disconnect, the language which is being used. So you will find a business owner who's very reserved, whereas the content coming out is somebody from a very extrovert person. So there's a bit of disconnect there. So it's about understanding, how you're coming across on social media. It needs to, be in line with the personality of the business, or your personality for that matter. So there is no right or wrong answer in that. Should you outsource it? Should you not? If you think you don't have the time to do it regularly, then you should definitely outsource it. But if you think you can take time out to do it, then do it yourself. However, even if you outsource it, you need to keep a close eye on people who are doing it. It needs to connect. It needs to connect the dots. It needs to be you. It just can't be somebody else. And it needs to be relevant content. I've also seen businesses posting content which doesn't connect with their target market at all. but they're just posting something just for the sake of posting. Have you done a post? Yes, I've done a post. And what did you get out of it? I never checked. So that's the kind of approach they take. So that's not a good way, because right now there is a lot of, you know, people are working from homes. People are working from home offices. They have more time to spend on social media, and you would have seen that the traffic on social media has gone up. So it is about capitalizing on that opportunity. It's about making sure that you are, you know, on that train, on that bandwagon, and you get most out of it. All right. Any other questions? Okay, there are a couple of them. Yes. Yeah, Mike. Sorry, I tried to unmute you, but obviously your mic still hasn't fixed. So Mike says, we have a Chamber of Commerce offers page. There is an offers page on Chamber of Commerce. So if you're looking for support from chamber or chamber members are allowed to put offers on, on the chamber offers page, and you can use that page to market or create an offer to your target market. And if they're chamber members, they will be able to see. Anybody going to the chamber website, they'll be able to see. So if you do want to promote yourself, please contact Mike or Maggie and create an offer which can go on the chamber's offers page. So it'll be good, and it's free. So make most of it. Have a conversation with them. And if you are looking to access some other service or a product, you may want to go there and see if there is an offer running which you would benefit from. You know. All right. Uh, I totally agree. What is it? Comment. I totally agree about landing pages. Very important. Just like standing outside Harrods in the rain. You might be invited to buy an umbrella. The doorman doesn't push you through the door and leave you. No, instead he guides you straight to the friendly salesperson selling you an umbrella. Yeah, absolutely. You want the conversation focused. You want to make sure you close the sale. The idea of doing marketing is to sell. You're not doing marketing for any other reason. Ultimate objective is to sell. And every time you leave it out, or there are plugs, there are loopholes, the leaking bucket, the customers or the prospects will be going out of there, and you will be losing. And you're spending a lot of money on marketing, because marketing costs money. Selling doesn't cost money, marketing does. Selling is all down to your sales team, your meeting, or your follower. Marketing is going to cost you money and time. So it's important to understand you get best out of that. Right. FSB offering financial help with advertising. Yep, I think it is best for people to go to the FSB website and apply for that. If there is, FSB is offering some financial help for advertising. If anybody is interested, go to FSB site and look for grants. There are some grants available which you can look at and apply for them. It's about understanding your problems in the target market before empathizing. Yes, yes, feel, don't force. Absolutely, I agree with you. So, it's about empathizing. It's about connecting with people right now. People need support. People need understanding. So make sure your marketing reflects that. So um, uh, that's all from me. That's all from my side. Make sure you have those 5 things you want to action on right now, because that will decide whether this was worthwhile investment of your time or not. If you don't take any action, obviously this 1 hour just has gone waste. So I would suggest that take some action, write down what is it that you need to do. That's it from me. That's all from all of us. Thank you very much. Have a good evening and have a great weekend. Take care of yourself.